And I ain't hit no drop in a minute. No, I'm about my business.
Rappers Guide Podcast, episode 41. This is your host, Diggy
Bailz Pagliacci.
And today we are here with Keyz.
Yes, sir.
Keyz to the game on Instagram. How would you describe yourself if you had to describe yourself in like a couple words?
Really determined.
Okay. How do you get into the space that you're in?
You educate yourself.
Yeah.
You educate yourself on the business, of course, and then you educate yourself for certain on social media.
Right.
Because you're going to be using social media to do a lot of this work. So you got to be well-rounded.
So Keyz is a music strategist, business mind. Do you have like a roster of artists that you help, or is it just kind of everyone could get the business?
So I started off trying to work with people one-on-one. Well, not trying. I was working with people one-on-one. And then after a while, that eats at your time a bit. And, I focused on going a different type of route, which is, the one-to-many. Instead of one-to-one, I went to the one-to-many approach.
And you feel like that works better?
I love it, yeah. I mean, it's great for me, of course, and then it's great for everyone who, is a part of it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect that. Why we wanted to bring you on was because it's funny, like, the world of the people who are trying to help artists is actually way smaller than it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I realize that.
Like there will be like 5 or 6 people that there's a circle that if you talk about someone's name, you'll be like, oh, I know him. I'm scheduled to talk to him like we did with Corey before, right? It's like, it's odd to me that there's so much information out and there's so little people that are actually trying to spread that information.
Facts.
Kind of confuses me as to what everyone else is doing with the shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like if you're of a certain age, you've been in this game for a long enough time, there's no reason to hold on to it. Like, that's never helped me in life.
Facts.
Holding on to the information.
Facts.
Like, I feel like everyone that does that, it's just like a sadder way to go about the business, and it doesn't lead to success.
Facts.
If anything, it might actually deter you from success.
It definitely hinders you down. It makes it seem as if, you know what I'm saying, you got to put that positive energy into the world, into that universe too. Because like, once again, when we always talk about it, being an independent artist, we honestly are in this together. And especially until we reach that point we want to sign to a label or try to get our foot in the door some way, somehow, we all doing the same things, or we should be kind of going towards the same things.
Valid.
More so in the business mindset, more so than the creative way, because it's always different ways that you can express your art. But as far as the business mindset, there's definitely like a mold that you can follow by that actually will lead you to a path of success, while the others kind of just lead you towards doing the same thing over and over for years on years, like we were doing before.
It's funny too, because I feel like the success pattern that we preach is like communal. It's just community. It's like, there's business shit involved, but it's also just like putting out positive energy and actually like, because that shit sounds corny to everyone, right? Like I'm positive, I put out positive energy. Like that shit does sound corny, and I agree with that. But also like it's the truth. Like embracing artists. I used to be, and we've talked about it on here, but like I used to be that every man for himself. I gotta outshine this person. Like I used to be that guy, and it never got me anywhere. Like embracing people, even if I might meet someone and not fuck with them at all. I might not like their energy at all, but I'll never not post their song if I fuck with them, like music wise.
Facts. I thought it was just me that was that way.
Listen, bro, you could do the most foul shit in the world, and if I think that your record is hard, I'll still post the shit. I'm saying if I know you locally, like whatever, I don't care if you talk shit on my name. If you drop a dope record, I'm still gonna support that shit, because at the end of the day, I think it speaks to credibility. You know what I mean? And we're trying to be credible. Especially in the space that we're in. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be credible. So it's like, it doesn't matter how you personally feel about somebody. Like, we're trying to be credible. So I'm going to post that shit. I'm going to support dope art regardless.
Because one of the biggest things, especially within the industry, is just kind of gaining that trust, because there's a lot of mistrust out there. And it's just like, I don't know who can I turn to or who can I really lead to that information. And that kind of like a kind of question I wanted to gear towards you.
Yeah,
like, what kind of like rapport would you build with like those artists? You said, I know you said you worked with many. Yeah. Like, what is that trust factor that you provide for them, or something that, they can rely? Like, I can go to Keyz to help me out in my career.
I say that like in the age of the internet right now, there's a lot of scams up there right now. I mean, like there's scams that hit your inbox. I mean, shit, I get shit that hits my inbox about fake Spotify streams, followers.
Bro, same with us. And it's like, do you not see every fucking video on the page, bro? Like the wrong person. Like, why would you hit me up?
It too?
Yeah, so it's like, you know, there's scams and stuff everywhere. So that's like one of the biggest barriers that I have to break through, especially because a lot of the people that I work with, I mean, we've never met each other before. Yeah. You know, some people are in totally different countries and stuff like that, you know, and they usually want like 3 or 4 references. You know, they want me to send them references of people that they can talk to before we can even really start working. And, you know, it's just, there's a dark side to the business.
And you can't blame them either.
Yeah.
You can't blame them for feeling like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't blame any artist who thinks that me and Bailz are trying to get something from them, because it's odd.
That people
in this business, it's odd that people want to help you. It really is.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and we all came up in it. Like, if you reached out to someone who you thought was important, they're gonna hit you with like, well, what's your budget? What's this? What's that? And it's like, at that time, it opens you up to get scammed. Yeah, it just does.
And it happens to some people. I mean, some are smart enough to not fall into those traps, but then some people fall into the traps, unfortunately, and it just leaves a bad, what do people say? Usually leaves a bad taste in their mouth. So whenever someone's coming to them offering help, it's kind of like, are you really trying to help me? Or are you just trying to sell me on some fake streams, followers? You know what I mean?
It's also difficult when we all know that, like, there is a point in this business where you do have to charge for your services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you have to charge for your services, it becomes difficult to still have that trust and be charging for your services. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you have that conversation where you go into, well, these are the services that I offer, and there is a cost to them. After we built this communal trust of being just a public platform that you're giving information, how do you get into that where you do have to break that up?
It's really all about how you funnel people. And I hope this isn't too advanced, but, you know, when people, well, first of all, on Instagram, I don't know anybody on Instagram. I just know that there's 500,000 daily active users, and I know what my niche is and who I want to speak to, right? Being that I know who my niche is and who I want to speak to, in order to even put me on their radar, I have to deliver something to you to them, because people are on Instagram for numerous purposes. People are on Instagram to get entertained. They're on Instagram to watch something funny or get some information, and that's kind of where I come into play. So what I do, which is pretty much daily, is I supply really, really good quality content, practical. I'm big on practical stuff that you can do right away just by taking a look at that post or reading my caption or looking at my story and stuff like that. So then ultimately what that does is it leads to a conversation in some way, shape, or form. Could be them clicking the link in my bio and scheduling a call, or it could be just them shooting me a DM, which in either or case, the value train doesn't end there for me. I continue to serve value. I hear out what their problems are. I listen. You know what I mean? Instead of hitting them with a price right away, I listen to what they're actually going through and give feasible solutions for these problems, which then, of course, end up being that conversation of, yes, I can do this for you, but it does come at a cost. But it's all about delivery, too.
Right.
Instead of just saying, I could do this for you, but it's going to set you back $800.
Right.
More so, okay, sir, ma'am, I've heard what you said. Based on the things that you've told me, it sounds like this is where you're going. I have a plethora of services and solutions that I can provide to you, but I believe that this one right here is going to be the most well-rounded solution for all the information that you gave me.
And I think that's like the biggest thing too. Like when you mention, like you don't mention as far as money, because we know that's the biggest elephant in the room. Like a lot of artists don't really have the money or the budget. But sometimes, you know, when you word things in a different way or you kind of convey it in a way, it's kind of like selling a pitch, but it's needed and it's necessary because that builds that trust that kind of says, okay, this person know what they're talking about. They're building this relationship with me. And it's like, all right, now if they ask me to spend money, it's like, oh no, I'm not scared to do it. It's like, okay, I'm more willing to buy from somebody who I trust. Or who build a rapport.
No, like, and
so,
trust. I have to make you comfortable.
Exactly.
You know
that's
what I mean? In order for you to touch your wallet, you got to be comfortable about that pending purchase. You know
I also feel like it tells you what point of their career they're at. When an artist reaches out and they do take kindly to the budget conversation, rather than an artist who's like, I don't want to do that because I bet you if you were to like listen to their music, they have the beat tags all going through the song.
Listen,
and
man.
it's like if you've never spent $1 on any facet of your music, it's difficult for me to talk to you about spending $1 to promote your shit, right? Like I expect you to not take kindly to that conversation because you've proven by just your music alone that you don't spend money on anything, right? And I'm not saying that to knock people. Some people really just don't have it, and that's fine. Right. Yeah. But like, you're going to get to a point of your career where you recognize that there is no career without spending money. It just is what it is. That's the nature of the business. Everyone's trying to make that hit song and they think that it's going to explode. It's like, bro, that's not how it works.
It's not even a feasible dream.
Right. And we could try to promote that as much as possible. And I guarantee people just knock that back. Like, nah, I've heard people say that it was just lucky. It's like, nah, there's no luck in this business. Once you figure that out, you realize, okay, this is the price I have to pay if I want to get to where I want to be.
And a strategic game plan, very strategic.
Like, yo, you might look at an artist who has like a cult following and you might be able to say, okay, 50 grand will get you there. You might be able to look at someone with a bigger following and say 200 grand will get you there. You know what I'm saying? These are real numbers that could probably, you feel me? Like, depending on the size that you want to be. And that's why when everyone talks about, I want to be Drake, it's like, you might need that $1 million budget to be a Drake.
That's funny that you brought that up because that's usually one of my first questions that I ask people with. I mean, I ask people if I get on a strategy call with them, I'm like, what's your ultimate goal? Right. How big are you trying to be? Because once upon a time, I always used to think there were only Drakes until I learned that you don't have to be that big of an artist to be success. Success is it's a relative term. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, success to one artist could be, all right, Drake, you know what I mean, Rihanna, Beyonce. Right. But success to, you know, the guy who doesn't want to really be in the limelight like that could be just making $100K, pushing his merch, selling his songs, doing the heavy lifting himself. You know what I'm saying? So, it all depends. I always ask, what's your end goal? What is it that you really want to do here?
There's too much emphasis put on $1 million. The $1 million number. There's too much emphasis put on that. Why is that the thing? That's just how I've been asked. Because this is the thing. I know people who do make say $85,000 a year, right, at their job, not in hip hop, right, but they make that at their job and they live very comfortably.
Facts.
They have their own place. They have their own fucking food. They have their own everything, right? They're a nice car.
You could do that with music.
And if you were to do that with music, it would require way less fans than you think, right? Like, you still need a solid audience, but it doesn't require what you're aiming for. Facts. Like, we've talked about it on the podcast, but like, I remember listening to the comedian Bill Burr, and he said, you know, I realized that selling out an arena a theater only took 1,200 people in each city. So he set his goal to, how do I get 1,200 people in each city, right? Because selling out a theater is no fucking joke. Facts. That's good money. Right? If you sell it for $50 a ticket, like, you're doing okay, right? But that number, can you get 1,200 fans in Miami, right? Can you get 1,200 fans in New York City? That's more attainable, and that seems like less of a dream rather than it is just like a realistic goal than to be like, I want to be the biggest artist ever. Because that's just like, all right, cool. That's a blanket statement. How many fans do you need to be that, right?
Yeah, word.
Because Drake has maybe 50,000 in every city. And so you're talking about the wrong. You're just talking the wrong number. You feel me? Like that $1 million shit that takes 50,000 in every city, and that shit is not attainable for most people. And there's also, I'm sorry, but like there's also like some people are just not that.
I mean, you said it. I did.
But look, if you watch this podcast, you know that I'm bad cop on every single episode. But some people are just not that. Like, you have to understand, like, these superstars, they have everything. Like, it's the image, it's the
resources,
it's the resources, it's everything, bro. It's their voice type. It's literally everything. So when you look at it like that, just because you want to be the biggest artist in the world doesn't mean that shit works for your type of person. It just doesn't work for everyone. Yeah, it's 1 in a million, bro. Like, they're talking about Drake beat all the Beatles records. How long ago was the Beatles?
I don't know, like 70 some shit.
You're talking about the 60s, bro. Yeah, come on. Like, you're talking about, that was 50-something years ago. Yeah. So you're talking about every 50 years there comes this new artist. Anomaly. And you're in his 50-year window.
And that's something we're always going to promote on this show. You don't have to make $1 million. If you're making 50,000, 40,000, 60,000, you're making more than most people in America, and it's all off of music and it's all off of touring. And you always have that opportunity to expand and build more on it if you have that business mindset or build a team around you that can provide that extra value. But it's just like at the end of the day, if you're getting paid to do music, what else are we trying to do?
But you took the words right out of my mouth, and the key thing that you really said was the business mindset. And I think that's like the thing that's like, struggling. The community's struggling on that. And, one of the first things that I like to tell people is that you are a business and your music is the product. Like almost on some indoctrination type shit.
I just want to be an artist.
No. You then you just want to just sign a deal and, be someone's bitch. Let me not say that.
Okay, but
let me not say that.
No, but then what? Right? Like, you want to sign a deal, and then what?
But that's really the question.
That's the question, right? So it's like, yo, okay, cool. You set this goal that you want to sign a deal. All right, I got my checkbook open. I signed you. Now what? Now what do you want? No one thinks about what they want after that, right? Yeah. It's the deal. Like, the deal is always that's the thing. Well, I just want to get signed. All right, cool. You got signed. Now what? And that's where do you go from there?
And that's the missing piece in the process, because a lot of people just think the end goal, but it's like, it's not really the end goal that's the most important. You find the most fun and you find the most interaction when you build in a career from the ground up in the middle. And then if you do sign that deal, that's extra work that you're going to have to just climb up to another plateau. It's like that work in the middle is like the best part of it. Getting to the end goal is cool and all, but we all know once you get to the end goal of something, it's like, all right, cool. I did it. What's next?
And now correct me if I'm mistaken, but in the Donald Passman book, I'm pretty sure he talks about longevity of career, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so now you got signed, right? Say you did have a goal. How long is your career? Like, I don't think Saquon Barkley got into the league and thought, my career might last 5 years. Yeah, even though the numbers are there, running backs, they have like a 5-year career, right? But they're spending money and playing as if this is the rest of their life. You might be an artist who gets on, and the shit goes away. What did you do with that money? How did you prove that you're a sustainable artist? How did you get to a point where you can have a 10-year career? Because that's no fucking joke in this game. When you have a 10+ year career, that means you did all the right shit.
Yeah, most small businesses, and I'm gonna keep saying
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah, 3 to 5, and you're done.
Right.
Yeah.
3 to 5, and that's that. You are a small business if you're an artist. You got 3 to 5, homie. Like, figure it out. And if you could last past 3 to 5, you did something right. And then you know what I mean? You did the right shit.
They don't got to really technically be in the music space. At that point, you could branch off into a stepping stone and build some other shit.
That's what I'm saying.
It ties related to the music.
Bro, someone starts a mom and pop food store, they wind up franchising and turning it into a chain. And now you're seeing one pop up in this city, in this city, in this city. And you go, wow, dude, I remember that first one.
What's Ross's? What does he have?
Wingstop.
There you go.
They wings is trash though. I'm gonna go on record and say it. I don't give a fuck.
I disagree, but
I stand in the middle.
But like within the services that you said that you do provide to artists, like what are some of those things? Like, because I know once again, like we said, a lot of scams out there. What would be like some of those services that you offer or provide? Because I know you say it kind of works more in the digital realm of social media and the things of that nature.
Yeah, so I offer them real shit that's gonna get them growth. So like all the things that pretty much make up a business. So any department that a business has, I would have those things to teach them to implement into theirs, i.e., email marketing, Facebook marketing, Instagram ads, just how to understanding the Instagram profile to begin with. I do profile audits. I've been doing a lot of audits recently where I'll just look at a person's
scanning through like files,
their social media. So like I look at their social media account to see some key things that they're usually always missing.
Right.
And then I'll make my way over to one of their streaming profiles. So like Spotify, for example, I'll take a look at their Spotify and just see what's going on. I'm send them a Loom. I like using the service Loom. Yeah. I send them a video and just let them know what they need to correct and invite them on a call. But I got all the, what did it say, a la carte?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like,
how often do you feel like after giving them the answers, right? After giving them that, all right, this is what I think you need to fix, how often do they actually follow through?
Ooh.
If you had to give a percentage of the people that actually follow through with it.
If I had to give a percentage of the people that actually under 40%.
That's still a lot.
That's generous though.
That's generous.
That's generous for me. But like I think realistically, if I had to just give a number, I'd say it's gonna be a weird number, but like 27%.
Okay.
Nah,
But that's a solid percentage, because I feel like, the second that anything costs money in this business, I feel like the second that you mention that to people, that number decreases drastically, because they thought that there was going to be some answer that they can get out of you for free that they can then just magically do without spending.
Yeah.
And grow their audience, right? And it's hard when you first bring that cost up, and then they realize, oh shit, like I have to spend. And and now getting them from that point to where now they're comfortable spending. Yeah. Like Bailz, when he first started shelling out money for Instagram ads and shit like that, I'm sure it was uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
I'm sure it was.
Because
where's the money going?
Mm-hmm. Listen,
right?
Real story. On my forum, I make people do a forum before we get on the strategy call that I do with them for free. And the reason for the forum is so that I can gauge where they're at with things. You know, like I don't know you from a can of paint. You know what I mean? I know you're an artist, but I don't know how established you are. So that's why I have the forum. And then one of the questions on the forum is, what's your budget? You know what I mean? And I make it required. It's a required question.
You can't try to skip past it.
Yeah. But what they'll do is they'll just put like random letters in the box, or like, we'll discuss, and we'll discuss is usually nothing.
Zero. Right.
Yeah. And, you know, like I say all that to say, like, you can't be out here scared to invest in your business. Like,
well, you're not, and it's not just your business. Like, I could understand being scared to invest in your business, but you're investing in yourself.
Word, bet on yourself every single time.
Like, we're talking, and the funny part is, like, a lot of these people will read all the business books in the world. They'll follow all the business accounts. They'll know what everyone sees those words. Invest in yourself, right? And all they're doing is investing time in themselves, but they're not investing actual currency. You know. Like, you can only get so far without spending $1. You can get somewhere. I'm not saying that you can't. You know, you might even get to the point where you're talented enough or you're skillful enough to now spend money, like our podcast, right? Our podcast, we started off just dishing it out, and we didn't have necessarily a game plan for it. But now we kind of know we have that niche market. We know where we're kind of going with it, and we know who to kind of corner to get this content out there. And we built a following off that. You know what I mean? But like, people, how many times do you hear an artist talk about how like versatile they are, and they make I can make a trap record, I can make this, I can make that, right? And they think it's a benefit. But it's like in any other business, if I walked into a fucking smoothie place and they also had fucking chicken wings, and they also had
ice cream and shit,
sports betting, and they had this and they had that. Like, yo, they had all these different. Well, check this out. What I'm saying is they have all these different categories of business, right? In this one place. It's confusing more than it's beneficial. Like, some people think it's like, well, I'm a one-stop shop. It's like, that's not how music works.
That's Walmart.
That's not how music works,
Walmart.
right? You're like,
that's
you're trying to do the Walmart in music terms, and it just doesn't work like that. No. I explained this to an artist the other day. Why would I go to your music? What mood am I feeling? Am I going to you because I'm angry?
A brand check.
Am I going to you because I'm happy?
Yeah.
Because I know who I listen to when I'm in a certain mood.
Word.
Right? There's certain people that you just listen to. If I'm in a chill space and I'm just driving in my car, I might throw on James Blake because he just keeps me there. Right? There's certain people that you go to for certain types of music. I'm sure people don't go to Meek Mill to relax.
Never.
You feel what I'm saying? And that's why it's like, yo, this shit is way more intricate than you think as an artist. You have to know your space. You have to know exactly what you bring to the table and why people are going to listen to you. And if you can't answer that, work to answer that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, work to actually build your audience of people that are like you and they feel similarly to you. You know, and everyone has wide ranges of emotion, but your music doesn't. Your music has a certain purpose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I did a coaching program earlier last year, like May of last year. And like, it was like I think it was a 4-week program. Every week I had a curriculum of what we would talk about, and I put that branding right there in the front. Because I feel like if you don't have that, you don't have any direction. You have no direction. You're going to be out here being at Walmart. You know what I mean? Trying to just put all types of wild stuff out there, all different types of vibes and stuff out there, which is it's great that you're able to do that.
It's cool.
But you need to narrow that down.
Right.
Narrow that down.
The problem is, like, I wouldn't want to do a show with a bunch of people that don't actually like what I'm doing. Like, they don't actually attach themselves to me personally. And we're in a space now where they have to attach themselves to you personally. They have to actually like you, right? When you do all that, all right, I'll drop a trap track, I'll drop a boom bap, I'll drop an R&B song, I'll drop this, right? They don't know who they're attaching themselves to. So they might be attaching themselves to the R&B you, and then they go to your show and it's all trap songs, right? So now that fan is just left there confused. Why didn't he play any music that I actually like from him, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? But what I'm saying is, like, I feel like when people hear that narrow it down, they think that means we're saying dumb it down. And it's not dumb it down. It's understand who you are, understand what you're trying to do. What kind of artist do you want to be? Because, it's also that longevity conversation. What can you see yourself performing in 10 years?
Yeah, you got some timeless records in there. You can't just be like the shit that's like playful and just
what can you see yourself performing? If you're making all this like drug trap music, right? When you're a 35-year-old man,
what's that?
Do you want to be? Do you want to be talking about that? Because I personally don't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what's crazy about the whole branding shit? Like something that kind of happened to me as far as like, the branding, as far as like me being like more of like the conscious rapper, but also like kind of big on mental health and shit. Like an actual company reached out to me and gave me like a free subscription for a year for like a affirmations app and said, I just want you to make a video of it. And it's just like strictly from just branding myself. Like I'm pretty sure like when they went to my Instagram, they said, okay, I see what he's tied to. We're going to offer this to him. Let's see what he's doing. I thought it was a scam at first, but it turned out the shit was actually real. And I was like, oh shit, this is how this shit works. You have to have a brand and an image.
What do you do for a living?
I do, like putting kids into counseling.
Okay. What did you go to school for?
Psychology.
What does your music speak about?
Psychology shit, mental health shit. Just brand.
It's just who you are, bro. Your music is supposed to be who you are. That's it, bro. Like, it's supposed to be who you are.
Yeah.
It's supposed to speak to who you are. I'm constantly having conversations with artists on a regular basis. My music speaks to that. A lot of my songs are the same shit. You'll hear the same business advice that I'm giving you in person on my song.
Facts.
You feel me?
No,
and
that's really the truth, though.
If you listen to the music, bro, you're supposed to get a sense of, if I had a conversation with this person, it would be the same thing.
Yep. It's like I'm talking to this person.
I tell people, like, if you really want to get to know me best, just listen to my music.
Right.
Exactly.
And then when they have a conversation with you, it should fall in line.
Yeah.
It'd be odd if you were talking about all the drug shit and now I meet you and we're talking about fucking stocks. Right?
Like, where the drugs at?
Exactly. Like, yo, I thought you were this type of person, bro.
I came here for the drugs.
Right.
I came here for the drugs.
You know, like, yo, people do want to know who you are, and the best way to do that is through your music. But a lot of people get so lost in the sauce of trying to make a hit record that they don't know how to just be themselves. And that being yourself might lead you to your first hit record just by being yourself.
But you know what's interesting too? I'm glad you mentioned the thing like when you put the forum where you basically have to ask the questions. It's kind of fun that you said that what they put we'll discuss about it.
We'll put like we'll discuss, or like they'll put like just letters, or like they won't put numbers.
And
there will not be numbers.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I went like we had Corey on the show, and actually because they opened up the contraband thing, right? And I went to answer the questions on the forum, and they literally said like the marketing budget, and I was like, no, I can't meet the requirements. We're not looking to work for you. And like I know a lot of artists will probably see that and be like, yo, like I feel like they just trying to play me, but it's like if you have a specific budget and you know it's going to work for you, then I understand the mindset. And it's just funny they would put we'll discuss it.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story. It's funny because I was talking to Corey in the DMs, and I sent him a message and was telling him about a problem I was having with an artist who literally did the same thing. And the voice note that he sent me back in response to that was like, I'll play it for y'all offline, but like, shout out to him too, because he understands this and we go through the same pains. But, you know, that is something that we see on the forums a lot. And to us, it's just like, come on.
Are we there? Exactly. Like, seriously?
Yeah, like what do you think this is? But like, what do you think this is?
But here's why we understand it though, because we came from being artists. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't have the money to do all the PR agencies when we were coming up, right? Like I just didn't have the budget at all. So I get where they're coming from.
Yeah, word.
I understand your stance. I just need you to know that this is just how it works when you get to this level. And back in the day, it was hard for me to comprehend that. because I've had PR firms say, oh, it's $500 a month. And that's light. That's light when it comes to this business, right?
Yeah.
But back in the day, I remember being like, who the fuck has $500 a month to spend on PR? Who has that?
You know what? When I think about my business expenses and what I drop, just to run this entire operation, I got some services that I pay for that are upwards past $500 a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? To keep this stuff going.
Yep.
And I sit and I think about it when I pay those invoices, and I'm like, damn, bro, you really out here paying $500? Just, man, bro, you done came a long way. Because, like you said, Dig, like a while back, I wouldn't have seen the value in that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't shit before I had the proper equipment in my studio. I was I was recording on my phone with the beat playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
whatever
saying?
Whatever makes do.
Yeah, whatever I could get done at the time with what I had available. But at the same time, like when I would go online and look at the prices for everything, I'd be like, shit. It kind of make you check how bad you really wanted the shit.
Well, it's the difference between having a lemonade stand and having a fucking storefront. You know what I mean? Everyone could have a lemonade stand, but like if you wanted to franchise that and turn it into an actual business, you got to pay for rent. You got to pay for all the equipment. You got to pay for all these things. And if you explain it in business terms, everyone comprehends it. With music, it's odd because it's all coming off their brain. There's no actual physical thing that they have to do, right? And everyone has a laptop with GarageBand now. So to them, it's like, nah, this shit is free.
Right.
This is free. All you have to do is help me. That's how they'll put it.
Yeah, I think that's really.
Why
the
are you not willing to help me?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you hear the good music?
Ooh.
You're not willing to help me. Yo, some of you motherfuckers are nasty, bro. Like some of you guys are really fucking good.
Yeah.
But that's just not how it works.
Carry too long.
It just doesn't work like that. And it's hard to tell them that. You know what I mean? Like, because I would love to hear someone who's dope as fuck, and then I tell them what they have to do, and then they implement it because that's how passionate they are about their own shit. But like a lot of the time, bro, people are just looking for any shortcut.
Handout.
And this is the business with no shortcuts.
A handout.
And that's why I said like that shit also ties in with like real life, like outside of being an artist, because everybody like usually like when you say you're an artist, everybody even wants you to like try to spit some shit, or it's like it's something cool to talk about when you're an artist. But it's like outside of being an artist and you have your real life, when we talk about how expensive the music industry is, you should be setting yourself up in your actual real life to make sure that you're able to fund the shit that's in your artistry. Whether it be budgeting or making sure you got a stable job,
yeah,
or like,
get a job,
get in the streets or whatever. That's what you're doing.
The artists that don't want to get a job, they're like, I'm just gonna make this shit work,
and that's what it comes down to.
And you're out here looking fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's not like these people. Like, bro, you're sitting in a basement at probably your parents' crib, and you're looking fucking crazy in order to be an artist. And yo, what do you respect about?
It doesn't even have to be that bad.
But it's like, what do you respect about artists, right? Like everyone respects artists because they have so much money. And it's like, here you are sitting there broke trying to pretend to be them.
And shit, most of the artists pretending to have money.
But go get money. Like, you know that if you got a job, you'd at least be in a better circumstance than you're in. Now you could afford the beat that you couldn't afford prior, that $20 lease. Now you could afford some mixing and mastering services that make you fucking sound professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
or
bro,
Keys to the game.
When was or Keys to the game?
Shameless plug.
Yo, but check this out. When was the first time you got a song mixed and mastered properly? That you actually paid money to get it mixed and mastered.
Paid money?
Yeah.
It took a few years. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Shit, me too.
Can you think of like a year that you actually did that? And after you did that, did you now see the value in paying for engineering?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Once I got it back and I heard the difference from like what I did on my own, I was like, whoa, like
it's a complete difference.
Yeah, like okay, this is what like I actually I can't remember the time, date, you know what I mean, none of that, but I do remember exactly how it made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, like I gotta figure out how to keep this going, like you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
I was 18. I was a waiter, and I remember kid told me about a studio. I went with him to the studio. I recorded a track that I had already recorded prior. So I had a reference point of what it sounded like from me and what it sounded like from him. And I remember when I played that song for people, their reaction was different. I remember playing my music for people, and there were people that fucked with the music, but when I played that mixed and mastered song, I could see that they found it more professional. I could see it in their face. Like, as they're listening to it, I could see that I went up in stock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes all it takes is just paying that first amount to realize, all right, that wasn't so bad.
It wasn't bad.
And the return was a positive return.
Word.
So now you just keep on doing it. Like, bro, my paycheck from that waitering shit, every time I got paid, I recorded this. I went back and had a session.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I could afford at the time. Maybe I could only afford a session to record one song, but I did that fucking session.
Yeah, word.
Because I was interested in getting as much of that quality as I can, right?
Yeah.
And if that meant this week I got paid well, so I could do 2 songs. This week I got paid like shit, so I could only do 1. But I'm stacking all these records up that are mixed and mastered to drop a project, to drop this, to drop that.
And to add on that, that's your product too. So, you know what I mean? Like I said in the beginning, you know, as an artist, you're a business and your music is a product. You want to make sure that your product is the most polished that it could possibly be.
Right.
You don't want to be out here putting trash product out there. Because think about just outside of music, when you buy a trash product, what do you do with it?
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't use it. You throw it out. You bad reviews. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the same applies as an artist. The music is your product. You want to make sure that it's the best possible quality because you're going to be putting it out in a market. You're shopping your songs on these DSPs. They're just marketplaces for your songs. Mm-hmm. So why would a consumer on the platform spend time on your profile listening to trash quality music when they can go to someone else's profile that has way better quality music, and the quality it probably sets the tone for the rest of their Instagram profile and how else they conduct business as an artist as well. It speaks volumes.
There's stores that like there's a store called Primark. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. It's like an H&M. It's like an H&M. It was in Europe first and it came over here, right? And Primark has really dope shirts, but the quality's bad. And you wash it and dry it one time and the shit shrinks.
Like Forever 21.
Right.
Oh, no, yeah.
And it's like, yo,
I need 20 washes.
I'll spend more money to get a shirt that's not gonna fucking shrink on me, even if I like the way that one looked more when I first put it on, right? So it's like I might listen to a SoundCloud rapper or an Audio Mac rapper, right? Mm-hmm. And I might like your song better than I like someone that's getting professional mixes shit, but I know that the quality is there. You know what I mean? I know the quality's over there. It's not with you.
Yeah, and eventually you got to bring that quality.
And at some point, if you don't bring that quality, I'm just going to stop listening because it's like this person is not providing solid quality. This person is nonstop providing solid quality. I don't want to play your shit in the car and it sounds nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
People's going to be looking at you like, who bands is this? Take the aux from him.
Like, bro, you should be able to, and I used to tell artists this when I would record them, how I want you to leave my studio session is I want you to leave, be able to go to a party that night and put it on at the party and no one questions it.
Facts.
That's great.
You feel what I'm saying?
That's great. Yeah.
I want people to leave here, go straight to a party and play it on the speakers because it's going to translate well. The problem with, you might have made the hardest shit in the world, but say they're playing it on a little fucking Bluetooth speaker, right? If it doesn't translate well, they're going to take it off. That shit sounds bad.
It's like a tin can.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
One of my OGs told me back in the day, and I'll never forget it. You know, music is a transfer of energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, and I think that's the reason why as artists, when you play your music for people, you be trying to look for certain shit. You want to see if it's somebody in the room with the stank face on. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? You want to translate that, and if the quality of the shit's poor, you know, you're not going to get the effects, you know what I mean, the responses that you're really looking for from people.
It's hard enough to get that response anyway.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like, there might be people, we've talked about it, there might be people that fuck with it, and they just don't want to tell you they fuck with it.
Yeah,
music is weird, bro. It's weird, especially if everyone's not behind you. If everyone's behind you, it becomes easier to show it to people because now you already got an audience. And that's so they feel like they're just joining a community.
And that's why we want to break down like kind of like it sounds kind of pessimistic, like the whole the allure of what it is to be an artist and like what is it be in the industry or make it as an independent artist, because there's definitely that painted picture like, oh, it's beautiful, you get all this money or everything, but nobody really talks about the work and all the shit you have to put in. And then, you know, we grow up thinking, because I thought the same way for fucking till I was 26. Yeah. Somebody's gonna come over here and sign me to a deal, I'm gonna get all this money. Then, you know, artists start bringing out like, yo, we're not really making that much money. The pandemic hit, and then you start seeing like, yo, I'm not getting any money off my streams. Or you see artists selling their catalogs just to get to their streams just to get money. And it's just like, oh shit, this shit ain't really what I really thought it was. Because and now I gotta go different.
It's also bigger than that. It's not their money. It's not their money. Unless you're 100% independent, it's not your money.
Yeah.
Like,
Just playing grab ass.
The difference between a business loan and a deal, like a pub deal.
Oh, God,
right?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Is that a label could never repo your house. A label can't repo your car. So it is more beneficial, but you'll never see $1 off your music.
Your creativity
ever
stripped.
Yeah. So all these people that want these $2 million deals, that's a fucking steep hill to climb. Because
a lot of hands in that pot too.
And check this out. I'd rather take a $100,000 deal, knowing that it's way easier to make back 100 and re-up on the next one. See where I'm at?
Yeah, the recouping.
Right. Like if I could recoup 100,000, I know I could probably recoup 200, and let's build from there. But like if you're taking that $2 million up front, you've never had to make $2 million.
You don't know what it feels like.
Right. And now check this out.
It's a lot of
So you're signed to a deal where they have their hands in the pot with your show money, literally merch, everything, right? That makes it easier to recoup. But say you're doing $50,000 shows, right? You're so big that you got $50,000 a show coming in, but you have to recoup $2 million. You're out there for an hour performing, sweating your ass off, and you're not seeing a dime from that fucking performance.
Working for free, basically.
Until you recoup that money. So yeah, it's okay to want that deal that's going to pay you $2 million, want that deal that's going to pay you $1 million, but like, how are you making that back? Music doesn't make money anymore.
Word.
Look at what a stream costs.
And they trying to lower that shit even more. They fighting that to drop that shit even lower. And that's something if you artists, if you are watching it, you ain't know that, you should know that.
And that's how you're recouping now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're recouping on shit that they stream it 10 times just to get you fucking a half a cent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you got to think about that when your goal is to sign a record deal. When your goal is to sign a record deal, you got to think about, all right, they come at you with $1 million. Now what do you do to get that $1 million back to them? Because it's just a loan. It's not a payment. Now you could go out and spend it on dumb shit.
If you want.
How do you make it back though?
If you want.
And that's why we say the best course of action is if you're going to take out a loan, just take out a loan of yourself. Don't even think about having to have your artistry held up by somebody else. Take the loan on yourself. Why take it from somebody else?
But that's what I'm saying though. I'm saying that loan that you could take out on yourself, they could repossess all your shit. That's why people are not eager to take out a business loan on themselves. Right? Because it is safer to get it from the label. It's way safer to get it from the label.
It's a double-edged sword.
You know what I mean? It is safer, but it's not any different. You know what I mean? When you break it down, they're the same thing. You're getting money from someone who it's not your money.
Yeah, don't go to the bank asking for $50,000 for an
album, that's exactly
please.
Why when the pandemic hit, you see all these people complaining about their funds.
Scrambling.
Because it wasn't their funds to begin with.
Scrambling.
It was never their funds. And now there's no shows to even recoup the shit. So now they owe money.
Screwed.
You feel what I'm saying?
Screwed. Like trying all types of stuff.
It's like having to pay your rent without a job. It's like, yo, no matter what, that invoice is coming. You owe the label this X amount. How are you getting that money to them? That shit never stops. Okay, cool. You don't have it? Fine. We're just gonna take it out of your fucking merch. We're just gonna take it out of your show money. We're just gonna take it out of your music. We're gonna take it out. There's people that complain, don't stream my album. I haven't seen a cent off that album. That's because you didn't recoup.
That shit even now. I see like
go ahead.
I see like now the shit like when Ashanti and them, they like basically trying to re-record their shit so they could actually get the money off of their streams and shit.
Taylor Swift just did the shit.
Yeah, just re-recording their shit. So She's smart. Artists are getting a little bit smart as far as like trying to figure out ways to get out of those bad deals. But at the same time, if you can avoid it, just avoid this shit completely.
It's funny, but not funny at the same time to see an artist go through a fallout with their label and then try to talk shit about the label. When it's like...
When they signed the dotted line.
Exactly.
Was it really the label, though?
Bailz used to make all this music about hating labels. And I had to have a conversation with him one time. I messaged him and I was like, yo, like, what do you think a label is? Because I wanna understand where you're coming from. Because I feel like his was naivete. It was more like the standard
trying to stick
fuck the label.
Man.
Right? Everyone's on
the
the fuck the label shit until you run a label, until you're managing an artist and you understand, like, bro, listen, that label provided X, Y, and Z to this artist and they agreed to it. So now when they're turning around saying fuck the label, you agreed to all the terms and you were happy to take the money, right?
Yeah, I always say I'll probably sell myself some fire ass music videos, bro. I still say that shit to this day.
It's like the mob, bro.
I appreciate the honesty.
I'll sell myself with some music videos.
But it's like the mob, bro. It's like people used to take money from the mafia. like say a loan shark or some shit.
Yeah.
And then they want to complain when the loan shark is after them. But you agreed to take that money knowing the consequences.
Man, to make it even simpler, when you sign up for an Instagram profile, you agree to their terms and conditions that says you will not put hate speech on their platform.
Right.
So if you put hate speech on the platform and they clip your shit, you can't go on YouTube saying fuck Instagram because they clipped your shit because you read the fine where you should have read the fine print before creating an account. You know what I mean? You gotta. What does it say? He who has the gold makes the rules.
Facts.
It applies to everything too, yo. You might sign up for a job like all the people. I don't want to get political, right? But like there were jobs firing people for not getting the vaccine, and I said to people that were arguing against that, I said, bro, there are jobs that fire people for not wearing their uniform. The fuck is the difference, yo? I set a rule in place, and you didn't follow the fucking rule.
Word.
Every place is capable of doing that. Right? Like the music business is no different. I'm able to sign you to X, Y, and Z and then take all the money from you until I get that shit back. And that's not a nasty thing for me to do. These are terms that we agreed on.
And the labels probably scratching their heads like, God,
and that shit like
what did he think we were doing,
life, bro?
You know what I'm saying?
To real life.
Yo, I bet you the labels every time that an artist comes out on Twitter or whatever, fuck the label. I bet you they're sitting there like, what did he think we agreed on? What did she think we were agreeing on? Like Meg Thee Stallion had that situation.
Yes, she did, yeah.
Right? With Carl Crawford? Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Like, he funded a lot of her early career. She might not be who she is right now if it wasn't for him, right? But she wants to turn around and say, I didn't make $1. Maybe he didn't make $1.
Yeah, I think he said he ain't made no money. I think he was just shelling out a bunch of shit. But that's the part where it comes to like managing artists and shit.
But now, when does he get his money back?
Exactly. Then Rock Nation came.
I know. I know everyone wants to make the labels out to be the bad guy, and I'm cool. I'm on board because they do a lot of nasty shit, right?
Yeah.
But from a business standpoint, if I shell you money, and me and you had a conversation prior, if I said, bro, I know you don't have it right now, I'm going to give you the money to go and record these sessions. And you say, all right, cool. But you got to get it back to me. I need that money back.
Yeah.
Right? And you agree to it. And then you go, you record all the music and now you're making money off your music. And I'm still sitting back like, where's my money?
Yeah,
you
where's
can't,
my ROI?
How could you look at me and say, fuck you?
Bro, you're lit off my money.
Right. You didn't have it to begin with. Now you're making money and you want to keep all of it.
And I think that comes down.
That's where the conversation gets kind of weird. And that's where artists don't really see it straight. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, yo, I think that the best approach to music business is understanding it's the same as politics, bro. If you could understand the Republicans and understand the Democrats and you could kind of have that balance, I think that you'll be able to skate by a little bit easier than if you're all one way or all the other.
You got to be able to go through the middle. And I think a lot of it comes down to artists and having accountability for everything that's within their artistry or the business-wise. It's like, fuck the label this. And it's like, okay, but once again, what are you technically accountable for? And what are you being held to as a standard for yourself, whether you sign the line or you choose not to sign it? And it really comes down to your accountability. And I think that's like a human error. And it's just like even worse when it comes to being an artist, because once again, we're all in our heads and all this shit is imaginative and we make this shit come to life and we fruition it. So it's like, it's ours, it belongs to us. But it's like, if you signed a deal saying I'm going to give you half my intellectual property, then it's like,
well, Bailz, if you handed me 50 grand, before I go and buy a chain off my music money, I know I have to pay you back.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my goal is, yo, how do I get him his money back so now I can make my money?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you understand the business, right? That's because you have a decent understanding of the business. Now, if I didn't understand the business, I might just think, yo, fuck it. I'm never going to pay him back, stupid. But little do you know that there are things in place where you'll never see $1, bro.
Yeah, word.
It's just what it is, man. You don't want to go through them those labels are paid and they have money for lawyer fees.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? They don't worry about that. They might just milk you fucking dry. They literally might just keep prolonging the process until you're dead broke and you need to pay them. You know what I mean? You need to give them all your rights and everything.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that's something that you feel like that artists like kind of struggle with, the ones that you reach out to? Because budget is definitely a problem, but is it kind of like trying to home in the fact of how can we make you become profitable? Because I think that's a lot of things that artists, they have an idea of like, I want to make money from my music, but tend to not know how or how to go about it the right way.
Or what you even make money for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, you feel like that's been like a hurdle that a lot of artists get through, and like, you know.
It is. I mean, a lot of artists aren't born with the sales mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we're here talking about, you know, them being a full-fledged business. You know, I think when a lot of people declare that they want to actually pursue music, they're not thinking I'm a business. They're just they're recording music and releasing music, but like I don't know where they think that things are gonna come from. So yeah, I'd say it's definitely a bit of a challenge to get them to shift gears from just being that creative to also having a business mindset as well. And usually what I see is they need to undergo, and this is a sociology term, paradigm shift.
Oh yeah.
They need that paradigm shift to see that they are a business, and that's how they need to then conduct themselves. And then things kind of start to make sense to them, you know. And usually where I get them is, you know, you do your own marketing, right? Yes. You're your own manager, right? Yes. You know, you do your own recording sometimes, right? Some of them, yes. All right. Well, think about a real business. Most businesses usually have departments for some of the things that you as an artist have to do. So, and that's when they go like, oh, okay. And then that's when they have that paradigm shift. And hopefully, you know, they're now an open vessel for me to be able to explain where, now that they understand that they have all these various departments that make up XYZ brand, you know, now hopefully it makes sense when I say, all right, so do you have an email list? All right, you don't? All right, well, here's why. Do you understand now that I've made that connection for you? You know what I'm saying? So
just bridging those gaps.
Yeah, just bridging those gaps. That's really it. That's really it.
A lot of it's just explanation.
Yeah,
that's it. It's just being the first person to actually explain it in terms that they understand. Yeah. A lot of artists have conversations with, they go, oh shit, that's what that means? It's like, yo, it's hard to know when you've never been told anything correct, you know? And everyone has the friend, oh, I know someone who's down with this DJ. I know a person in the industry. Like, everyone talks that talk until you actually talk to people in the industry. Because they don't go around like that. You know what I'm saying? It's the same with like when you see someone rocking like a Gucci shirt that has all the monogram shit, and you're like, rich people don't dress like that.
Yeah, word.
They just don't. Word. You know what I'm saying? Yo, industry people don't have that conversation. Me and you might know people in the industry. We do not have that conversation. I don't go to a young artist and say, well, my boy is down with this person and my boy is this person.
Once you start talking like that, I'm kind of turned off.
It's weird.
Right?
Yeah, very weird. It's tacky. It's like, all right, whatever. I even need you to say that. Just tell me what you do, and then we can go from there.
But it's also, it's if you know what, if you know, you know. If you have that conversation with someone, they start name dropping, you just know he doesn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I don't even need to keep going. I don't have to keep this conversation going. I just know what it is already.
And I think that's like one of the biggest scams is that people will literally just start name dropping people, like, or famous people, or try to imitate, like, oh, I've been near this person, I've been around that person. Because a lot of times with the, you know, I would say like the younger mindset is like, all right, he knows somebody's famous, that must mean you have the connection. It's like, yeah, you probably just walked past this guy, probably took a picture, and now all of a sudden you know him and it's your man's. Now you're trying to get me for like $100 to get on your mixtape or Apple Airplay, whatever the fuck they be trying to advertise for. It'd be a lot of the bullshit.
Bro, I used to be around the drug dealers, and when I rapped, I was rapping about all the stuff the drug dealers did, right? I never said it was me doing it. I always said it was my boys. I always said it, I'd be with this person and that person, right? And then you have to come to a point where you realize no one respects the person that's just telling someone else's story, right?
Tell your story.
Exactly. What's your story? What are you about? You know what I mean? And that's where it ties in. It's like, it needs to be something that you're about personally. Like the business shit, like you have to figure out how to make it you and how to fucking embody it. There's a lot of people that don't know how to embody it. You see all these young kids trying to get a manager because they want someone else to do the fucking work. And it's like, bro, that's not how shit works. Like, what makes you valuable, right? What makes you valuable? Why would I manage you? I've had people ask me to manage them. Why?
Same.
What? Bro.
What do you have to manage?
Exactly.
How are you going to pay me?
Right. Bro, I've mixed your records and you were nickeling and diming on records that I'm mixing. I'm doing a service for you and now you're asking me to manage you. How do you figure I'm going to look at that? I'll never in my life, bro.
And it comes to
you know what I'm saying? Like, I know what you're about business-wise. You haven't proven to be a good businessman.
Yeah, word.
So you think I'm going to take you on and be the financial fucking support? What do you think I'm going to do? Or do you just think I'm going to do your job for you and you reap the benefits?
I say if that's how you feel, then you just need an assistant. And there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah, you definitely find. Yeah, you can definitely find like a friend or something that could be that assistant, not to technically be a manager. They can still help you out along the way.
We had a whole episode on managers, and that's what I came to the conclusion of. I said, a lot of you don't want a manager, you want an assistant.
Facts.
And there's nothing, and we even made it clear, there's nothing wrong with being an assistant.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Assistants are some of the most important people in the world, because a lot of the time the big boss doesn't have time to do this and that. The assistant is the one that's doing all of it.
Shit, even in the Drinks Champ with Big Sean, he said that he had his friend that got fired because he took the picture, but he said he brought his friend over there. Like, yo, if you need anything, I'll get you y'all drinks and food, because like I understand what you're doing. It's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So it wasn't like he was trying to be his manager. He was just trying to help his man. He got fired for it. But
that's the problem with trying to put your friends in positions that they're maybe not capable of. You know, every artist that makes their friend their manager doesn't realize your friend manager. Right. And your friend doesn't have any business experience. Your friend doesn't have any management experience. Bro, even if you manage like a retail store, you have managerial experience. You know how to talk to people, you know how to act around people, you know how to give people tasks, you know leadership qualities. There's a lot of shit that you can learn in real life that you can apply to a management role. But if you've never done any of that and all the merit you have is, well, that's my boy, why would I think that you're going to be a good manager? What, because you're supportive? That's why it is for a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's like my boy comes with me to the studio all the time. He fucking is there for every single song. I'm making him my manager because he's been supportive.
You need more than that.
He might be your supporter. He's not a manager.
Yeah, the role of the manager is, I mean, like, you know, the role of the manager plays very, very several different, I mean, they play their role, but they do several things inside of that role. You know what I'm saying? And they have to be able to do those things well. You know what I mean? That's like one of the prerequisites if someone's going to be your manager. And if you just have someone that's your manager just because they are a supporter, like, you're giving them the wrong title.
Well, why don't you check this out, right? If you had a business, say you're the CEO of a business, right? And you had a management role open up and you had to hire someone for a managerial role, who would you hire? Would you read their resume first? Would you look at what their past experience is? How would you go about hiring a manager? And now let's tie that into music. It's the same fucking shit.
Your word.
Right? Like, we pretend like it's not the same because it's fun, but it's the same thing. How are you going about hiring a manager if you're the owner of a fucking retail store? You're going to look at someone who managed other retail stores, right? Did they do a good job at those places? It's like, bro, if you look at sports, they'll bring one GM over from another fucking team just because they did a good job with that team. And then they'll take them out from under.
Power,
You feel what I'm saying? But like, they don't just go out on a limb and hire any, like, it would be similar to you saying, all right, I run this retail store. This one shopper is here every single day. They love this place. I'm going to hire them as the manager.
They don't know shit about the business.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's what you're doing. You're finding the shopper. You're finding the shopper and you're making him the manager or her the manager.
Word.
The shopper is not the manager. They've never run the store. They just like the product.
The consumer.
Right.
The model that's built around it. And that's why they continue to come to the store. They can't technically run it. So yeah, it's definitely a weird thing. But once again, that always just comes within artists just understanding like, yeah, you always can't bring your friend along or try to help you along certain things because they just probably just not built for that specific time. And then they don't know how the industry works. If you as an artist sometimes don't know how the industry works, how the fuck you think a random person who's outside of the industry thinks it works? It's whatever's glamorized on TV or what's seen through YouTube. But then once again, you get people like us that's in this space that's trying to give the real information out there. It's like, listen, we got to just cut the bullshit out and see what this industry is for what it is and how can you really maneuver through it and really make something of yourself.
It's the same reason why I like, if I'm asking someone about a song that I made, right, and I want some opinions, I'd rather ask artists for those opinions because they understand the craft, right? And they might be able to give me actual legitimate responses as to what can be fixed. Now, if you ask your friend, the only answers that are good from a friend should be good or bad. Because they can't tell you technical advice on what you're doing.
Word. They can tell you if they like it. Do I like it? Does it please me when I listen to it or not?
I'm asking you for consumer advice.
Yeah.
Do you think this sounds good or do you think this sounds bad? And those are the only answers I want. Now, when you start asking your friends and they start telling you about, I think you should rap this fast. And that's the shit that's like, okay, show me how to do it. Right?
Do that fast.
Right. Show me how to do it. And if you can't show me how to do it, let's just not have that conversation. Right?
Yeah.
Like, bro, in everything, you just have to know who you're asking about everything. You just have to know who you're putting in place and they have to be capable. You know, and that applies to a music strategist, right?
Mhm.
Like if I'm putting a business strategist, that's why before when you said they asked for references of who you've worked with,
Yeah.
that's a good question.
Great question.
It's a resume.
I love it.
Right?
When
I'm hiring you.
When I get those questions, I'm like, whoa.
Oh, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's different.
Right.
Yeah, I'm happy to work with people like that.
Right. That person knows business. They're hiring you and they want to see your resume.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm fine with that.
That's literally
that's how this works.
Right. And that's a prove me deal. You know what I mean?
Word up.
That's how everything works. It's
Word
like,
up.
you have to prove yourself if you're working. If I'm paying you money, I want you to prove yourself. Right?
Word up.
So you can't be offended by it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like for you, it's like that should be a regularity when it comes to your line of work.
Should be.
You know?
Should be.
But also I feel like people are running to you not thinking that you're supposed to be working for them. They think that they work for you at that point. You know? When you're a young artist.
Yeah.
And like do you feel like you mostly just see like rap artists, or is it like more through like different genres? Or do you feel like
all different types of genres.
Do you feel like rap is the one where it just kind of the lines get a little bit blurred?
Yeah, I mixed one pop song. I mixed one pop song, and that shit paid me 5 times what one hip hop song pays me.
And it's wild. That's how the music landscape is. Which you'll see now, like a lot of artists go from the rap, and then some of them just kind of just transition to pop, and then people get mad at them. But it's like they're chasing the bag, and they understand what's going on, and they're also making music that's still comfortable to them. But if it fits within a pop element, then guess what? They make more money than rap, because once again, the whole music landscape has those shady parts and those dark parts to it. But in hip hop, it's just like a whole different world where like the country stars not dealing with, the pop stars are not dealing with, the techno house, they're not dealing with that. It's mostly everything within the R&B hip hop world where we see the most issues happening.
Because for the most part, hip hop comes from struggle.
I was about to say that.
And that's why you can't really compare the two. I'll be honest with you guys. The pop artist that I worked with was not from Newark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's why, like, bro, it's all about how you were raised. It's all about the environment. And that's the same reason why I got paid 5 times more for that one, but I do way more hip hop regularly. Because I'm willing to take a hit for what I enjoy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to cope with the fact that I know I could go and mix only pop and make way more money. But I also want a level of comfortability with myself. I want to be able to sit and be like, I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, nothing against all the other genres and stuff like that. You know, like I help whoever, you know what I mean, meets the qualifications.
Music business is one business.
Yeah.
And that's important. We have people hit us up and say, yo, it shouldn't be Rapper's Guide. It should be you should do some episodes about pop. And it's like, hey, buddy, this shit applies to everything.
Yeah, we're just rappers. Like, that's why it's the Rapper's Guide.
We're only talking, that's just the name.
Just listen.
That's just the label.
Listen. Just put it on and listen.
Right. You take this information, you apply it to pop, country, whatever the fuck you want, and it's going to apply. Every single music business is going to apply, or every single music genre applies to the music business. The music business is one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not interchangeable amongst genres. It's one thing.
It just happens that our niche is more in hip hop and rap, and that's kind of where
but
we are.
Beyond that, that's just a label that we slapped on the shit.
Yeah.
Every company has a fucking brand name. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck like Pacific somewhere. That'd be like me being like, you should make Atlantic somewhere because it's the Atlantic Ocean's on this side. It's like, it's just the fucking name of the brand. You don't walk in there though and not see shit that you could wear.
And brand,
you know what I mean?
Brand is the most important thing, and that's what kind of just, once again, it makes people go towards you, and that's why everybody spends so much money on marketing and branding and just bringing awareness to yourself as an artist. You have to be able to find that awareness, and I'm glad you did mention like a lot of times like within the social media, because it's like, as much as we hate doing this shit, it's like if you really want to make it, well, I don't want to say if you really want to make it. Let me rephrase that statement. If you want to give yourself a fighter's chance and you don't want to put the budget behind it or the money behind it, then the best way you can possibly do that is through the social media, because it's technically free. But besides that, you're going to have to pay for it. And if you don't want to do that, then you got to make a way around it.
We talked about glass ceilings with Z.
Yeah.
And social media is free to a certain point, just like everything else. You can get, it's the same as music. Yo, the world is very, very much like every situation kind of falls into the same shit. There are certain values that just apply universally.
Yeah.
And you can get so far by hashtagging shit, and you know what I mean? You can get a couple hundred followers. At some point you are going to have to put money into marketing. You're going to have to do these things.
You can't run from that.
You know what I mean? You might make a reel that blows up and say you get a decent following. that following is going to go away when you don't make another reel that pops, right? And you're going to have to start from ground zero. It just is what it is.
That work continues.
At any point, you're going to have to spend money at some point. And I think that that's the message that everyone needs to know. And I think that's the message that's the real answer. Kid asked me for a real answer the other day as to how you blow up in this game. And I said, money.
Oh my God. That question, how do you blow up?
I said, money. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, Russ said 30 to 50,000 to gain an actual following, right? Russ said that, not me. So it was a famous person who said it. Believe him, right?
It's a yearly salary right there.
But 30 to 50 grand. And he didn't say at one point, sometimes it takes people 10 years to pay that. Maybe they paid 5 a year, right? And maybe they blew up after 10 years because they built the following. But he said 30 to 50,000 will get you a solid core audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the answer. If you're looking for the answer, that is the answer.
And then once again, you have the ability at that point to make 3 times that what you have spent, because that's the end goal. Everybody looks at it once again. When you guys mentioned 3 to 5 years in business, it's going to be rough in the first 3 to 5. But after that 5, if you know what you're doing and you put everything in place and you're still working on it, guess what? All them losses you took in your first 3 to 5 years, I'm just kind of get erased within the next 2.
Yeah,
that's just
and
how the numbers
take
play.
Losses.
Exactly.
You're going to take losses. There's times where I've invested money into things that I thought would be good at the time, and it turns out that it wasn't. But, that's usually like one of those defining moments for you in your career. And it's just as a person, like things didn't work out the way that I thought that they would. I invested my money into it. It was supposed to go a certain way and it didn't. Well, the fact of the matter is it didn't. But what are you going to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? Are you going to keep going or are you going to keep crying about that thing that didn't work out?
Right. A lot of people are criers.
Oh, man.
A lot of people, it takes them losing some money or it takes them losing some time to recognize that they didn't like it from the beginning. You feel me?
Yeah.
It takes people actually going through the process to recognize, I don't even fuck with this.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
I've seen it a couple times.
We've seen it a bunch,
I've
bro.
seen it a couple
Everyone
times.
has.
Artists, I literally have to check up on them. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, like what happened? Like everything, I thought everything was going, you know what I mean? Like when the last time I spoke to you, you were mad, energetic. You seemed hopeful. You know what I mean? Like I thought you were gonna put all these things into play, and then it's like, nah, I'm all this music stuff. I'm taking it off my account. Like I'm done. Like, oh,
and I respect them.
It's
though.
sad, but
yeah.
You want to know why? Because I think that's way easier to. If you could be real with yourself and you could tell yourself, yo, this is not for me, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Like we push forward this message of you have to bust your ass to get in this industry, but that doesn't mean every single person has to religiously do this industry. Some people do not like it once they find out the real.
Got a Euro step.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You might think that a job is cool, and then you apply for that job, you get accepted, and then you see the actual workplace, and you're like, this sucks. And then you go and get a different job.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. You tried it, you didn't like it.
You can sit there and force yourself, and you're going to be even more and more miserable as more time goes on.
I would preach trying.
Yeah.
I would preach at least going for it. You know what I mean? If this is something that you dream about or you have passion behind, you should go for it. If you realize you don't like it after going for it, that's fine. You know what I mean? But at least you went for it. Yeah, I feel like everything that I've wanted to do in my life, I've gone for and I've experienced. And that's why I hate being like morbid or one of those people that's like, if I died, I had unfinished. If I died, I feel like, scratch that. If you go back to my 12-year-old self, right? And you told him one day you're going to own, you're going to have your own record label. You're going to have your own studio. You're going to have a successful radio show, podcasting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have albums on all streaming platforms. I think my 12-year-old self would be ecstatic. And that's why I don't stress shit now.
He also would have said, what's streaming?
Facts.
Like, what is that? Like,
but
bro,
I think my 12-year-old self would be very happy with all the shit that I've done.
I know my fucking 12-year-old self would be fucking slapping myself up in the air like, bro, this shit's about to get crazy. You don't even fucking know.
If you told your 12-year-old self that you have a track out that has 250,000 streams, all organic, like just straight marketing, I don't think that your 12-year-old self would be upset. And that's why a lot of people need to take small wins and actually recognize them.
That's very important.
We all have them.
That's very important.
We all have them. Like the shit that we wanted to prove to ourselves, I think each one of us in this room has proven that shit tenfold.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I've dealt with imposter syndrome. I mean, I literally had to like
you
read books on it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes shit be so real, you just be like, wait, this for real? Like, you know, and then when you start to become numb to your successes because your mindset is always what's next? What's next? What's next? You don't really take the time to smell, give yourself your roses. You know what I mean? You don't give yourself time.
Enjoy that grind.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's worth it.
You get locked in. You get so sucked in and focused. But it is important to take a step back and really just look at all the progress that you've made, and just take all that in and give yourself the credit for. I know for 2021, I had to put a note in my phone where I put all the things that I accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Like that coaching program that I was telling you guys about earlier. That was one of my biggest successes of the year last year. And I had to I wrote that down because 6 months from now, when I'm tripping because I'm upset about some other shit that didn't work out, you know what I mean? I got to remind myself of who I am and what I'm capable of. And that's why that list is just like super gold for me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's definitely powerful.
There's a book that, and we're going to close out soon, but there's a book that I read called Make Your Bed. And the whole point is if you make your bed first thing in the morning after you wake up, you've accomplished something throughout the day. Your whole rest of the day might be shitty, but when you come home, you know that you made your bed at least.
I ain't made my bed this morning.
You started, I don't even have a bed. I sleep on the floor. But not. And
y'all are shot out.
And it's all about just those small wins, those small accomplishments that you can have control over, setting realistic goals and expectations for yourself and accomplishing them. And we've told people like, yo, if you're getting 50 plays on your tracks, how do you get it to 100 this year?
Yeah.
How do you get it to 1,000 next year? Like, how do you make these small things happen that in other people's eyes are small? But for you, if you set that goal and you accomplish it, you should be proud. You know what I mean? Just because you didn't make that $1 million number doesn't mean that you shouldn't be proud of yourself for where you've gotten to. You know what I mean? I would never have imagined back in the day that I'd have any monthly listeners.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't imagine that there'd be people that religiously come back to my page and listen to my music. Yeah. And that's something that you should be proud of.
Yeah.
You know?
Success is a mindset. You know what I'm saying? You really gotta remind yourself that you're really that dude or you really that, you know what I mean, that female or whatever the case may be. Like, you gotta remind yourself that you're really, like, I can do these things. I'm capable. I'm more than capable. I'm qualified for the job. You know, that's why, like, lately, as of 2021, I've been big on affirmations. Like, just like when I wake up in the morning, like, I talk to myself. Like, I look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself, actually, can you pass me that phone right there, bro? Be careful about the camera, though. I got one of my affirmations right here. I'm going to just read this for everybody, but it says, I will remain focused on my goals. Even if I have a moment of difficulty, I will not give up. I know success comes with consistency. I know that I will make it. Things will get better. No problem or challenge will stop me. Everything I deserve is coming my way. I remind myself of these things all the time. And before the world gets to me, before I step out, get in my car, listen to the radio, listen to all these other different messages, these different marketing messages that are coming and hitting my subconscious, I make sure I talk to myself first and let myself know that I'm one of the realest to ever do it.
Talk that shit.
You feel me?
Amen. Preach.
Yeah.
Tell everyone where to find you.
Follow me on Instagram at Keyz to the Game. It's Keyz with a Z because the S was taken, unfortunately, but I'm grateful for it.
Hey, man, that shit is so hard.
Cool. Instagram's the only place?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Twitter, too. LinkedIn, you got to look me up. My real name, Kareem Guy. Facebook page, Keyz to the Game. For the most part, synonymous across all streaming platforms. Here I go.
That's that rapper shit.
All platforms, Keyz to the Game. Again, that's Keyz with a Z.
All right, thank you so much for coming on, brother. We really appreciate it.
No doubt.
Finding out you were from Jersey, it just seemed inevitable.
Great. Wild shit.
You know what I mean? But we're really appreciative that you came on the platform and shared. Thank you, brother.
For sure. And anyone listening, go check out my Instagram. Click the link in my bio. Let's get on a call. Make sure you fill out all the forms.
All right, guys. This is another episode of Rappers Guide Podcast, episode 41. We're out. This is Diggy Metro.
Bailz Pagliacci.
Yes, sir. It's Keyz.
Peace out, guys.